Welcome back to Pack the Rock podcast. Thank you for joining us for the Hoosier Network. I'm William Stewart. Beside me, Ian Plaskoff, the rookie. Across from me, Ava Wegenke, Nick Rodecap, all of us returning for year two, except for Plaskoff. It's year two, and it's week two. And week one for Indiana was interesting, to say the least. A 27-14 victory over the Old Dominion Monarchs. We'll just get right into it. Fernando Mendoza, he was 18 for 31, 193 yards, a 66.9 QBR. No touchdowns in the air, but no interceptions as well. The team's rushing attack was the main proprietor of this game. 57 attempts, 309 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Roman Hemby, the lead back, with 111 yards on 23 carries. Kaelon Black had 17 carries, 92 yards, and a tutty. Lee Beebe went for 11 touches, 73 yards, lost a fumble. Then Fernando Mendoza, 6 rushes for 33 yards and a flipping into the end zone touchdown. The highlighted wide receiver was Omar Cooper, who had 2 catches for 52 yards and probably could have had over 100. DBs were the highlight on defense. 3 interceptions, 1 from Pons, 1 from Mari Farrell, and 1 from Lewis Moore, who might not be playing after next week. And then Jonathan Brady was the really savior of the first half for Indiana, a 91-yard punt return touchdown. What were the takeaways from week one of Indiana football?
Plaskoff, you were up high, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you and Ava probably had the best view because Stu and I were both on the field.
Yeah. My biggest takeaway is that everybody needs to calm down. It's week one. And first of all, Curt Cignetti said this in the press conference as well. The fact that people are freaking out when Indiana wins by 2 scores in week one is saying something about where this program has gone in just 1 year. But, back to my point, everybody needs to calm down. 500 yards total offense, 300 rushing yards. Indiana was solid for 93 yards just about every drive. Just the red zone finishing is something that Indiana's working on throughout this week and throughout the rest of this beginning part of the season. I think personally Indiana could have scored 50-plus points easily if they capitalized in the red zone, which they did not. It's obviously week one. Lots of new faces, chemistry still developing, and it was pretty evident that they were using, I would say, 10% of the playbook in week one. So, a lot of people are freaking out. I am not one of those people.
No, I felt like as a group, the defense overall was they looked most comfortable and put together throughout the whole game. I mean, obviously you had a couple moments here and there. Coming out into the second half, I feel like the offense was more put together than they were in the first half, but they weren't totally put together. And obviously, you mentioned that red zone. That was pretty huge and a big part of, kind of some of their issues. And a lot of people were, especially just on social media and stuff, they were like, this team looks a little vanilla right now or blah, blah, blah. It's week one. They're not going to pull out their biggest stops. Yes, they looked awkward. Yes, they were maybe playing a little vanilla, but it's week one. And we have to remember last year too, this team took a few weeks to find themselves and their groove. They were not rolling out as a complete ball team as we knew them to be by the end of the season. It took time, and it's going to take time again. And I think, like Ian said, freaking out right now, maybe take a chill pill.
I think this is kind of a product of the transfer portal era of college athletics where everybody's roster looks really different year over year. You're not going to have continuity year to year if, for example, you're bringing in an entirely new offense at the skill positions with the exceptions of Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt, really. Nothing's going to be firing completely on all cylinders from week one. But it really didn't last year during the FIU game. And Curt Cignetti said it felt like Groundhog Day. Dominated, didn't reflect it on the scoreboard. Fans left at halftime. Team left a lot of points on the board. So I don't think there's really that much cause for concern. And I expect that, obviously the players have been very adamant. They know what they need to fix. So let them work at it now that they've got a week's worth of, let me start over. Now that they've got 60 minutes worth of film on tape, let them work at it, let them adjust and move forward. And I also think that there's a lot that Indiana didn't show in the playbook because you've got Illinois knocking on the door in 3 weeks and you don't want to show everything to them because that would be a very, very bad decision from a coaching perspective.
I always love the month of August, the end of August and beginning of September, where it's just early season football because everyone thinks you should have a national championship contender or in the NFL a Super Bowl contender by week one. And it's are you serious? These guys have been practicing against each other for all of maybe 6 weeks. and you think they're going to come out and have everything hammered down. And obviously the defense is going to have an advantage over the offense because you run to the strengths, you run your strength, and you're running a couple blitzes. Nothing complicated. And you've got all of 4 or 5 coverages, maybe a shell. You can learn that in literally in an hour. Your position groups learn that day one, or, just get back used to it. Don't even have to learn it because you've been knowing it since high school. And the offense has to learn a playbook. Yeah, you're only going to use 10% because it's week 1. It's just, it's funny every week, every year. It's like, oh my God, everyone looks bad. Well, yeah, it's week 1. They've been playing scout team players that either aren't on scholarship or guys that just walked off of a 1A high school team from down the street and just wanted to keep playing football.
I mean, you look at last year, I remembered vividly the Pro IU board, and Curtis Rourke got a standing ovation.
Literally standing ovation.
On Saturday. You think back to week 1 in 2024, Curtis Rourke did not look good. He was 15-24, 180 yards, a touchdown, and sure enough, went on to be an All Big Ten player, threw for school records and touchdowns and
a Heisman
yards
candidate.
and a Heisman candidate,
He got
8th
a
in the
Heisman
Heisman
vote,
voting. Yeah.
Multiple Heisman votes.
Fernando Mendoza outplayed Curtis Rourke in terms of week 1 and could have been better had Omar Cooper not dropped a 50-something yard touchdown. That's not really a big point for me. It's just that, again, it's going to be a vanilla playbook like you said, Ava. And also these guys just aren't comfortable yet, and that's okay. It's so different going against a different team compared to a scout team group or just your own defense. So just putting that into perspective.
And one other thing before we move off of week 1 is the Lewis Moore situation. He's technically out of eligibility. He's trying to fight the courts. He's got another week of continuance. So at the absolute least, you get the end of this week. Who do they move to after this? Because Bryson Bonds is out for the year.
Out for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's where do they go from there? And then Baldwin's day-to-day. What do you do in the DB room?
Baldwin would probably be the first step if he gets healthy, but it's thin. It really is at that safety spot. You could bring some of the freshmen up if they're looking good in camp. I don't know what. It's hard to be a freshman DB, especially in the Big Ten. I don't really have an answer right now.
I think you point to outside off the field. I think you point to Diego Pavia because they're saying that Lewis Moore is out of eligibility. He didn't play in JUCO. He took a red shirt for a year. And then the 2020 season got canceled. Diego Pavia started his career at the JUCO level. He's been in college football in one form or another since 2020, and he's fine. So why is this an issue? I don't know. It's dumb. But you do feel for Lewis Moore if he's not able to keep playing because, he made a huge impact on the game this past week. And I'm sure he's excited to be back at Indiana after a year at Ole Miss. It's crazy what changes in a year. But Pavia is playing in his 6th season of football at the collegiate level, and he's played at least 8 games in every year, entering this one. So why does he get to play but Lewis Moore doesn't? I don't really know, especially because Moore had a misdiagnosed ACL tear, I believe it was, when he was playing JUCO ball. I don't know. It feels like a double standard to me, and I'm not sure if I'm a fan.
Somebody send Nick Rodecap to the court. That's Lewis Moore's new defense attorney.
The journalism school to law school pipeline is a real thing. So
we'll cite.
They know where to reach me.
Who is it? Thomas Crow that's doing that? Somebody's going to law school.
Yeah, I think.
Really?
I think it's Crow.
I think
Somebody
that
is.
sounds right.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Period.
we've got journalism students going to law school, and now Nick's second. We're starting a pipeline. And now to move on from week 1 in somewhat of a sense, the new AP poll, Indiana comes in at 23, and around the Big Ten, Ohio State, Penn State, 1 and 2 respectively. Oregon lands at 6th. The University of Illinois is at 11th. I can't speak today. And Michigan is at 15th. There's a response.
Sorry.
Please share.
Michigan, I think Michigan's that high. They started high because of the Block M and because of Bryce Underwood, but I think that's really funny.
Did you see him play, though?
Yeah, he was hooping. That
was nuts. I'm scared. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's a good thing for Indiana fans that Indiana doesn't play Michigan this year. I will say that.
I don't want to see Bryce Underwood.
Yeah, no, he's scary, but AP polls are stupid, preseason polls are stupid, and all the bias from the preseason polls trickles down throughout the season.
I'm glad you have no passionate opinions on this.
I'm just tired of fighting it. Honestly, it's not worth it. Like Texas stunk up the joint going into Ohio Stadium, as Indiana fans and players know, is very tough. But man, Arch Manning had these unrealistic expectations on him. Like, the guy has never been like, that's an impossible situation. Going into Ohio Stadium week 1 against a loaded team and a loaded coaching staff and being expected to perform, and then people rip you apart when you don't perform. I think if his last name was like Smith or Jones, he wouldn't have had those expectations lofted on him, but he did. And Texas never should have been ranked number 1 to begin with. Let's get that out of the way. But man, that is a brutal situation to be in if you're Arch Manning. I just think that when you have the bias at the start of the season, it trickles down throughout the season. Texas being its 7th is still too high. Alabama being above Indiana is laughable.
I couldn't believe that.
Florida State is obviously better than last season, but man, Alabama fans want Kalen DeBoer fired.
I'm
Yeah.
not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it's their first week 1 loss since 2001. Is that right? That's insane.
Yeah, that is insane.
You can take
Did
them-
you guys hear Tommy Castellanos' new nickname? Tommy Casamigos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like Tommy Gun or something, because that'd be kind of cool. But
That's actually a way better idea.
yeah. You're welcome, Tommy Castellanos. You can reach out to me, have your people talk to my people. But
Nick is open and out.
no, with Kalen DeBoer, you can take the man out of Indiana, but you can't take the Indiana out of the man. Sorry, Bama fans. You never want the guy after the guy. You want to be the guy that follows the guy that followed the guy. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Jeremy
Don't-
Gray said that in class one day.
Don't be the guy after the legend, because the expectations are impossible. I have no sympathy, though.
Speaking of legends, and also going back to your Arch Manning expectations comment, when Lee Corso picks against you in his final pick,
Yeah.
you cannot overcome that. Lee Corso was perfect
He was perfect.
on all of his picks and every team that he played or coached for in week 1.
Yeah.
Bless Lee Corso for picking Miami.
Yeah.
How do we feel about Illinois being number 11? That was kind of shocking to me, to be totally honest.
I think everybody's high on Illinois because of Luke Altmaier coming back, and Illinois made some noise last year. Honestly, I think the higher Illinois is, the better, because if we're going to keep putting all this stock in the AP poll, then Indiana going in and hosting maybe a top 15, top 10 Illinois team in a couple of weeks, that would be great for Indiana if the Hoosiers can win that game. Because then you're looking at, oh, wow, Indiana knocks off number 10 Illinois or whatever. Or if Illinois is in the top 10, then it's even better. But I don't think anybody on the playing or coaching side really cares. They're just going to look at the film, see what Illinois is putting out there. Going to be very good tape, I'm sure. And they're going to figure out the best way to go about attacking them. But I think the higher Illinois is, the better it is for Indiana.
Yeah, if players and coaches start putting stock in the AP poll, we have a problem.
We do.
There's a large problem at hand for whoever's team that is. And I'm not totally moving away from week 1 yet. We're going to have a little bit of fun. There was a flying bison at Memorial Stadium.
I was correct.
There was a flying bison at Memorial Stadium. And apparently, Plaskoff didn't come up with the idea. That had been in the works since before July.
Yeah.
There was an extra bison mascot flying in Ohio to practice to make sure we didn't have a puddles incident.
Did anybody see it?
Imagine
Not that I'm aware
driving
of.
through Ohio
Wow.
and you're just like having a day and you just see this bison like in the sky and you really think like, what is going on?
I hope it wasn't over Columbus, because otherwise you might have had some Ohio State folks trying to shoot him down.
I want to say it was Western Ohio.
Okay,
So I think they
Gabe
might have
Cup's
been
country,
safe.
perhaps.
Could have been. Maybe Gups was the skydiver.
Yeah.
Gabe Cup's was the skydiving mascot.
Well, because the other thing that was brought up was that the skydiver was significantly shorter than whoever was on the bike, but you just couldn't
How could
tell
you tell?
Yeah.
because he's on a bike. You can't tell
Yeah.
that there was 2 mascots. Yeah.
Yeah, when I made that that prediction or wish, if you will, in our last episode, I had no intel that there would be a skydiving bison. I just said that because I thought it'd be cool. So I guess
And the next thing you know, there was a bison
Yeah.
jumping out of a plane.
They
at that.
absolutely nailed that.
they did.
They did.
That was
He
amazing.
had a rough landing though.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're trying
He had a
to
rough landing.
think about like the size of a football field in relation to the sky. That's a speck that you're trying to land in. I think he almost landed on the 50.
People thought he was going to hit the scoreboard first.
Yeah, he was
it
pretty
went
low.
around the press box, didn't it?
Yeah,
he
it went above it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He started in the south end zone and then went around the press box and came in.
Yeah.
But no, he the IU chants too. I wouldn't be opposed to the fans doing that every game. One side of the
That was
stadium goes I,
electric.
the other one U. That was sick.
I
was
think that is the
electric.
plan at the
That
moment,
is
is keep the IU going.
That's really cool.
And the other thing I want to ask about, because this is something we brought up in class, Plaskoff, that we had class, is there was a third quarter song that played.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone even noticed that it was supposed to be a thing.
No.
When Who Let the Dogs Out started happening.
Okay, well, the Go IU, Go IU, Go IU thing at the end was because we brought it up in my class too, and that was not a part of the song.
And that is what we were told as well. Yes.
Yeah, we were, and then, yeah, I don't know. I think with something like that, like, you're not going to get it the first time. Maybe the second or third time. You got to, like, stuff like that, you got to keep trying it again. But then it's like, Loki, how many times do you try it? Will people ever care or catch up or pick on? Because I think they want something that's, like, fun and, like, unison and, like, gets everybody bumping. But that's so hard to do.
Who Let the Dogs Out would be cool if this was Georgia or Butler. But
I think the thing was, you couldn't. We were standing in front of the speakers. I think. I know I was.
yeah,
And I could hardly even hear it.
the
But
South end
apparently
zone
something
speakers
was
are
playing.
terrible.
That's a problem.
They
too.
need to fix that.
It's like incoming Hell's Bells, and then it's Who Let the Dogs Out, and then like
But within
they-
Who Let the
with
Dogs,
Dogs Out,
Out,
they
it was
say
who.
Hoosiers, yeah, and
Huh?
then they and
Yeah,
yeah,
see,
so
you
it
didn't
goes,
hear it.
I couldn't even
Yeah.
hear it.
I couldn't either.
Yeah.
So it's Who Let the Dogs Out, and then they go Hoosiers, and they do it 3 times allegedly, and then they
Then Level starts.
and then
bumping.
Level starts playing, and we thought like that was it, and then at the very very end, it's just Signetti chanting "Go IU," which is very off-putting. I was like, wait, what? And I literally told Ian, I go, I bet you he does not like that right now.
And there was also a little McAfee in there as well.
Yeah, there was a little
Oh, yeah.
McAfee in there.
See, I don't even remember half of this.
See,
And I was on the field.
see.
And also, it didn't help that most of the fans had changed into their bleacher costumes by that
Yeah.
point. But I don't know.
A
It
lot
was-
of people were gone, and I feel like there just wasn't much to like get hyped about
It
in
was
that
too
moment.
sunny. It was too hot. It was 75 degrees.
I thought they were soft.
You had a
too.
perfect afternoon in late August, which that never happens because the Ohio State game 2 years ago was like 93.
It was.
I do
awful.
remember that.
Oh, we're not naming a starting quarterback. Didn't even find the end zone anyway, Tom Allen. But nothing personal. Nothing personal. He and Dabo Swinney, that's like a nightmare 2-man blunt rotation, by the way. But no, it was a perfect afternoon. Why did everybody leave? Because I guess it was too sunny. So pack some SPF 50 and suck it up. It's going to be 71 this weekend. 72 degrees in early September. Go to Memorial, especially if you're a student, go to Memorial Stadium, cheer on your university, and enjoy it. Because when I was a freshman, we had to deal with Connor Bazelak as our starting quarterback. Those were trying times, but we braved it. And you can brave Fernando Mendoza. That's not even braving Fernando Mendoza. That's enjoying what might be first-round greatness. It's got to keep it in perspective.
With that speech,
Wait,
do you sell brick walls
wait.
people can run through, or no?
Did Nick just do a back in my day thing?
Did he? I don't know.
Back
we're-
in my freshman year,
We're
we
all,
had
we're all,
Connor
we're all
Bazelak.
elderly here.
4
Back in
years
my
ago,
time.
back in
Wait.
my
Yeah.
freshman year.
Yeah. I have nothing against Connor Bazelak, and he and Sean Shivers leading that game-winning drive against Illinois was electric. But man, Indiana's come a long way in a short amount of time.
Isn't Connor Bazelak currently on an NFL practice
He is
squad?
on a practice squad. Like
Yeah.
I said, I got nothing against the guy. I'm sure he's great. But if you had to, like, if I was a freshman and I had to choose between 2022 Connor Bazelak or 2025 Fernando Mendoza, there's no contest.
That's tough, but tough decision.
Yeah. Yeah, really tough.
Good thing Nick isn't passionate about it.
No,
right?
nothing.
No.
So, anyways, now that Nick's done with his speech that makes Plaskoff want to run through a brick wall, and that was going to be my way of plugging stay for the third quarter, but Nick did it for me. Kennesaw State's coming to town next week, so, or this weekend. Game's actually at noon this week. I know that for a fact this time. Last week, Kennesaw State won 10-9 to Wake Forest.
Lost 10-9.
What did I say?
You said they won. Dexter Williams wishes they won.
Everybody lost that game.
Yeah,
I'm
that's true.
just,
Yeah.
I'm reading it, and somehow I don't know what just happened there. They lost 10-9 to Wake Forest last week. Say that for certain. They run a pro-style offense, and their quarterback is former Indiana quarterback, Dexter Williams II. He was 12 for 33, 149 yards. And when he was Indiana's quarterback, he played all of 4 games, went 1-3 during that stretch, which includes a Michigan State win we'll talk about in a second. The Kennesaw State offense, they had 307 total yards. They averaged 3.7 yards per carry against the Wake Forest defense that is supposedly not that great. And their defense, they run a 4-3 multiple, which is it's a base 4-3, and then they switch their formation, bringing a linebacker down to make it 5-2. Sometimes they bring in an extra safety, but they have a lot of players rotating in. They had 23 players recorded defensive stat, but senior linebacker Barron Hobson led the way with 11 tackles on his own. Now back to what I'm assuming we want to get off the table first is Dexter Williams II in the Michigan State game. There's very varied experiences in this room with that game. So who wants to go first?
Ava, I think you should go first.
Okay. I was at that game. It was going into Thanksgiving.
As a fan,
yes, as a fan.
Large
I was at that
asterisk.
game as a fan. Going into, I didn't cover football yet, obviously. I was a freshman. It was going into Thanksgiving break. I'm obviously from the area. Well, not obviously. I am from the area. Grew up a Michigan State fan. Now I'm an IU fan. I went as an IU fan. It was a really interesting atmosphere to be a part of. I don't think I've ever been heckled or booed out of a stadium like that before. And I was the only one there in red. I was in a bright red jacket in the middle of Michigan State fan land. And yeah, it was really interesting. It was very cold, and I've never seen a football game quite like that. It was interesting. I think that's the right word.
Interesting feels like a fair assessment.
Yeah.
I had no connection to that game. I don't think I even watched it. I was probably, if that was the weekend before Thanksgiving in 2022, I was bowling somewhere. I think in Ohio, representing Indiana University, and probably missing a lot of spares I should have made. But I don't think I actually watched that game.
That's a pull right there.
Yeah. If it was this, it might have been the same day as sounds like it was the same day as, or around the time of the Bills-Vikings game where Justin Jefferson made that insane catch in the fourth quarter. Which, if that's the case, I was totally in Ohio bowling, so I have no experiences with that game, unfortunately.
I was watching this game at home. I was in high school still. I was a junior in high school. And I was just marveling at the box score as this game went on. I mean, it's a core memory for me watching Dexter Williams on TV stand on the bench and yell at the Michigan State crowd after putting up 39 points on 2 completions and 7 pass attempts for 31 yards. Indiana was outgained like 530 or 540 to
288.
let's see, 288.
Yeah.
257 rushing yards, and Sean Shivers had a good game, 8.8 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns with a long of 79. The box score is hilarious. A.J. Barner had a reception, 1 for 24. He was a Michigan Wolverine last year.
Michigan man.
Bills wideout Keon Coleman went 8 for 107 and a touchdown. Packers wideout Jaden Reed was 4 for 52, no touchdowns. And Peyton Thorne threw 42 passes, and one of those passes was intercepted, and that was a big one. A fun game, really odd.
Hearing Sean Shivers in 2025 is a flashback.
Eastern Michigan assistant coach, Sean Shivers.
Wow.
Yeah, with a certain football player from Lawrenceburg, Indiana, whose name I will not say.
Plaskoff's the only one that gets that because he's the only other one in this room from
Yeah.
Indianapolis.
We'll leave it at that.
I'm not even going to ask.
Yeah, this game was 24-7 at the half. Indiana went 17-7 in the third quarter, 7-0 in the fourth, and 8-0 in overtime. And that's a classic Tom Allen victory right there.
Anyways, that game was now 3 years ago, and Dexter Williams has improved. I would hope has improved. If you look at the box score from last week, you wouldn't think that, but he actually did look good for the first, say 2 drives where he was completing deep balls. They were backed up against the 2, and he threw a 50-yard bomb to somebody last week. I watched it.
So that means that the rest of the game he completed about 70 yards worth of passes.
Yeah, it was about 2 good drives, and then it was
So
that way.
Stop me if I'm drawing too many parallels, but Indiana had a couple busted plays that burned the defense this past weekend. Wonder if Kennesaw State's going to take a couple deep shots out of the gate, see what happens.
That would almost make too much sense.
It wouldn't
That would make
surprise
too
me
much
at
sense.
all.
I watched the first quarter plus of Kennesaw State Wake Forest, they play ridiculously fast. I mean, Kurt Cignetti said warp speed in the press conference multiple times, but when you're actually watching it, it's like, wow. And Dexter Williams is almost never passing from the pocket. He will be on the move. So Indiana's going to have to stay in communication there because moving quarterbacks burned them twice in week 1. So Kennesaw State obviously is not of the same stature of Old Dominion, but they're a more than capable team of scoring, even though they only put up 9 against Wake Forest.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be an interesting game. That's for sure. Obviously, Kennesaw State, they're one of the newest teams in the FBS. They just got added last season. So we'll see. It'll be noon on Saturday. It'll be hopefully a beautiful day, 70 degrees and sunny. And now, time for everyone's favorite part, the record predictions. Now, before we get to the record predictions, we'll go over the record prediction competition that we brought up in hypothetical last week that we actually made a thing. We have rules. There's just scoring. That's all made by Ian. So thankfully he made it because I would assume he's the smartest one out of the 4 of us.
Oh, thank you.
I don't want to call him a nerd, but I'm going to call him a nerd.
I'm a nerd.
If you get the winner of the game correct, you earn 1 point. If you get the margin of victory correct, you get 2 points. If you get one team score exactly correct, you get 2 points. If you get both teams correct, you get 5 points. So the max points you can get in a week is 8 between getting both teams correct, getting the margin correct, and obviously the winner correct. So at the moment, everyone in this room is tied but one person. Ava has 3 points.
Winner, winner. I knew what I was talking about.
She got, what part did you get right?
I got
not Indiana score.
It was Old
not the
Dominion.
Indiana score. I got the Old Dominion score right.
And then obviously picked Indiana to win.
Yeah.
The rest of us, we have 1 point. We got Indiana winning, and that was about it.
It's only up from here. That's the way I see it.
Well, you could have went. You could have had 0.
Yeah,
could have been worse.
Could've.
Theoretically.
Could have. What are we, SEC media talking about hypotheticals?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to wear Justin Herbert.
It was a quality loss.
It was you know what? I'll take that quality loss. Actually, I think we learned a lot. I think that we showed that we could predict the score correctly if we were on a neutral field. But I think the fact that we weren't on a neutral field was a big reason why we lost that prediction game.
So does that mean we need to switch to a different podcast studio? Is this not neutral? Are we? Is this technically? Is this a home?
This is a home studio.
Field?
Yeah.
How does it work?
Yeah. Home field. They have a store in Kirkwood now.
I have great merch, by the way.
Not sponsored, but yes, home field
not
is
merch.
great.
No, not sponsored. They could. It'd be fun. An HN sponsor.
Ooh.
Anyways, we'll actually start predicting the score of this game. Ava, you get to go first because you won last week.
I'm prepared this week since y'all said, "Oh, it takes her forever." Blah blah blah. I'm prepared. 31-14, Indiana. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Nick?
So you remember back to last year, Kennesaw State upset Liberty for their first ever FBS win. Liberty was 5-0 at the time. Kennesaw State was 0-6. Kennesaw State will try to play spoiler. My prediction is they complete a deep shot early and then get shut out the rest of the game. Indiana wins 42-7.
Brooke?
Yeah, I'm kind of on that same path. I think Kennesaw State will find a way to pick up a field goal somewhere. So, and I think Indiana's offense is going to really establish the run game and really start to open up the RPOs where Mendoza can get going. So I think the score will be a total of 51-10 in favor of Indiana.
I'm going to have the most extreme one here. I'm going to go higher than Plaskoff and also lower than Plaskoff. I think that Indiana comes out madder than a hornet's nest because Cignetti seemed like that in the press conference. I would assume the players all realized what went wrong. For some reason, the defense doesn't know how to flow and over-pursue the quarterback, and that's why Old Dominion even scored. I think by some grace of God, Kennesaw does score a touchdown. But that's it. I think Indiana wins this game 56-7. I think it's just brutal.
That sounds like a Indiana State score right there.
Indiana State might be 62-3. I think that's actually a reasonable prediction, but we're going to save that.
I think
jumping
56-7.
ahead,
This is a crazy poll.
whoa.
56-7, I believe, was the final score of some Carmel High School state championship against Penn in like 2015 or something.
No
like that.
way.
I
You're
would-
from
would that have been
Indianapolis without
5A or
telling me
6A?
you're from Indianapolis.
That would have been 6A, right?
I
Yeah,
am not from
Plaskoff.
Carmel. I mean,
you know
I am
way
from
too
Carmel. I
much
did
about
not go to
Indiana
Carmel.
high school football. You didn't realize that?
I grew up around it.
I grew up around the roundabouts, yes. Oh,
yes. There it is.
Splendid. Yeah.
There's Nick's Carmel
Oh,
accent
what's
for
that?
those who
Indianapolis
haven't heard.
Cathedral all over the place in 5A? Yeah, that's... Yeah.
Oh no, it was not 56-7. It was 54-0.
That is close.
In what year?
Um,
Pike made a state championship in the 21st century?
All right, stop
Wow.
reminiscing on Indiana high school
Yeah,
football.
No, that's really surprising. That's
Anyways.
All right. They're probably going to continue reminiscing about Indiana high school football. But thank you for joining us this week
Well,
on Pack the Rock
before we go-
podcast.
before
we're not
we
done.
go,
I guess we're not done.
Congratulations to former IU wide receiver Miles Price, who is officially listed as the first team kickoff and punt returner on the Minnesota Vikings Week 1 depth chart.
very
Look at
nice.
that.
He also got a nice ovation at The Rock on Saturday, and deservedly so.
Hashtag Pro IU. And now I think we're done. Is that everyone's talking points for the day? There you go.
Yes.
So thank you for joining us this week on the Hoosier Network podcast. We don't have our wide cam. So for everyone, for Ian Plaskoff, for Ava Wegenke, and Nick Rodecap, I'm William Stewart. Make sure to follow along with us on Twitter. Get all your Indiana football updates. Follow along for the Hoosier Network for all your scoring updates and Indiana athletics needs. Again, thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Y'all have a great week.